Well, good morning and welcome. I'm David Wilson and I'm here at Overdivest Nurseries on a very pleasant but rather humid morning in the earlier part of the summer. And here on this busy, noisy nursery where there's a lot of activity going on, please excuse tractors and stuff whizzing in the background as we're gathering up plants to send out to our partnering garden centres. Now today in this video, what I thought I'd do would be to take you on a little update on our remontancy trial that we're doing with these large-leafed hydrangeas, known botanically as Hydrangea macrophylla. We decided that it was time that we should do some testing and trialing here on the nursery. We planted out most of these plants 4 years ago, so they're well established. You may have caught some of the videos that we posted earlier telling you about the various results as they've come through after they were established for 3 years. Well, now that they're well established and, as you see, growing very nicely, there's some really interesting results coming forward that I thought might help you when it comes to growing and choosing the ones that you're going to be growing in your garden. Well, as you can tell, there's a lot of varieties out there, so when you go to the garden centres, there's a lot of choices which can be overwhelming. Lots, in fact, probably hundreds of varieties, including the ones that will come to you sometimes as gifts that somebody buys for you at, say, Mother's Day, and they say that you can plant it out in the garden afterwards. Well, of course you can. But if you live in a neighborhood where there's lots of beautiful hydrangeas growing, they'll probably be fine. But for most of us that live in colder localities, you have them there in their garden. They're beautiful, green, vigorous plants, but they seldom flower. On the other hand, what we've done with these varieties is planted them out, and we've been looking at their ability to rebloom. If the tops of the plants are killed back or damaged during the cold of the winter and it kills off those precious flower buds, then has the plant the ability to come back and grow from the base and still put on a good performance in our colder zones. So that's what we've been looking at with these varieties, and the first one that's here to my right is this lovely variety here, which is called Hydrangea Cherry Explosion. Now this is a variety that we've been growing here for many years. We've always found it to be reliable. It always puts on a good performance. It's a little later than some of these other varieties. As you see, it's just now beginning to come out, and it's producing these beautiful big lace cap flowers, which, as you see, when they unfold, come out with a beautiful cherry red. So here's a plant that gets to about 3 to 4 foot high, and as you see, is absolutely covered with masses of flower bud. And here we have it growing in a sunny location, but elsewhere in our test gardens and in some of our own private gardens too, we have them growing in partially shaded conditions, and they're doing beautifully in both locations. And then take a look at this variety. It's another one that we've been growing now for really many years here on the nursery. Over the years, it's been a great performer too. This is Hydrangea Early Sensation, and as you see, it's a nice bushy, rounded, compact growing variety. Producing here near the base of the plant, you see some flowers that came from the old wood that successfully overwintered last winter. This is now a 4-year-old plant, so it's well established. The wood is more mature, it's a little sturdier, and that comes with the benefit of having an older plant in that it tends to produce stronger, sturdier wood that's able to turn up and deal better with winter conditions. We did get some dieback on it. You see here the remains of the shoots that we trimmed back, but from the wood that survived, it's produced these early flowers. But then look to see what's happening here around the rest and the newer growth. As you see, it's producing young flowers here, which are going to come through and of course continue the flowering into the next 3 or 4 weeks, and perhaps even on through the rest of the summer. So this is Hydrangea Early Sensation, and a good performer. And with that in mind, Let me quickly mention that we have, I think, 37 different varieties planted out here in the trial, and what I want to do today is to take you through and show you the best performers out of that trial so that you get an idea as to what we're finding and seeing here. But also, if you want to find out more exact details about any of these varieties, check out our channel, because in previous years we've posted videos dealing specifically with each of the varieties, so you'll be able to get lots of information to do your research there. I wanted to show you this variety, which is Hydrangea Rock and Roll. Now this one has in its breeding line the original Endless Summer. It is in fact a sport of a variety from Endless Summer Twist and Shout. It's one called Rock and Roll, as I mentioned, and this is a variety in the trials right from the start has performed well. It's got sturdy stems that seem to come through the winter well. It's got good bud survival, so we get lots of early flowers, as you see. It also reblooms well, as you see. We're seeing lots of flower buds on here. Characteristic of this variety, along with the original Endless Summer too, is that it tends to be a little bit more open in its habit, and also, as you see, a bigger kind of wider spreading plant. Now at 4 years old, this is probably getting on for about 5-6 foot wide by about 4 foot or maybe 4.5 foot high. So you can see that it's a little bit more vigorous than some of the other more compact varieties that I'll be showing later on. But the habit is naturally a little bit more open and loose, and when you go along to visit some of the garden centres and you'll see the plants there, you might see that characteristic showing up in the pot-grown plants. They'll be nice, healthy, vigorous plants, but they tend sometimes to look a little bit more open compared to maybe some of the more compact growing varieties. The other characteristic of this breeding line too that I've noticed is that they tend to do better when they're planted in a partially shaded site. Now out here we have them in full sun. They're getting the sun beating down on them here, and as you see, they're responding very well with plenty of flower bud. But around about the afternoon you'll see them sometimes with these big leaves and these fleshy flowers here tend to lose their transpiration quickly. They tend to lose water quickly through the leaves and flowers, quicker than they can take it up from the base, and therefore you might see them kind of droop and wilt a little bit temporarily. Come back in the evening when things are cooler and they'll be perking up again. So that's why perhaps this is a plant, along with this breeding line, that might be better in some locations planted in a partially shaded site where they fall into a little bit of shade in the afternoon. Give them sunlight, that'll help the flower bud, but give them a little bit of protection from the hot afternoon sun and that won't happen so much. You don't need to worry about it. It's just a characteristic of the variety and something that I've noticed in this particular line. So this is Hydrangea Rock and Roll, really steadily throughout the years that we've been testing them here, a good solid performer. And then along in this section here we have what I call some of the earlier varieties of the proven winners varieties, and as you see, these are really doing very nicely with compact habit, lots of flowers, and also, as you see, some that are displaying nice blue coloration. Now the important thing to mention about this is that here in our soil we're neutral. We're really not treating them at all because we don't want to have any interference with the remontancy. We just really want to see how well they flower or otherwise. But you'll see from this variety here, which is Rhythmic Blues, and that one over there, which is Blue Jangles, these are varieties that are very responsive to the bluing treatment. So if you want to have a variety that has an ability to change color, particularly blues, quickly. These are a couple of varieties that you might want to consider. It is interesting when you look at this plant here, you'll see that it has already, because we're on neutral, it's got multiple shades of pink and blue all over the plant. Lots of good big flowers, as you see, healthy foliage, and then nice rebloom as well. So that's doing very well. Then I wanted you to see this variety. This is Hydrangea Let's Dance Can Do. This is a variety that I've talked about a couple of times now here on the channel. I've posted a recent video talking about it, and I brought you in to let you see what the plant looked like at that stage when it was just in bud. So you weren't able to see how pretty this plant is. You will see that this part of the plant here is loaded with lots of flowers, because then it's responding well to the sun, and that means that it's setting plenty of flower bud. Whereas on this side, which is a more shady side, you will see that it's growing well here. It's got flowers too, but they're a little bit on the sparser side, which shows how well these respond when you give them sunlight. But I really wanted you to see how effective this is, and also a little bit about the characteristic of this plant. As well as being compact and bushy, you will see that typically it's a lace cap type with these infertile florets around the outside and the real flowers in the center. These little blue flowers are the real flowers. So really good, important for you to know about, because this is a really great performer in our trial, and we're very fond of it here. And again, like the other ones, this can be changed from pink through to shades of blue and purple too. And then as we round the corner, you'll see a couple of plants here that are really honestly probably not getting their fair chance, with the effects of this cryptomeria now billowing out over the top of them. But as you see, the plants are still really, despite that, doing quite well. They're a little later flowering than some of the other varieties, so it's going to be a couple of weeks yet until they really show off their full benefit. As you see, this variety here with its lovely dark green foliage has, when it opens, really rich red mop head flowers. This is Hydrangea Magical Ruby Red, bred in the Netherlands. This is a variety we've been growing now again for several years. We love the deep intensity that you get from these big rounded flowers, and as you see, it's also producing here plenty of young growth on it. So this is a plant that really is not showing off its best right now because of the effect of the cryptomeria, but also it's a little early, so we probably need to come back and look at that in a couple of weeks time, along with this variety, which is one that was bred in Japan. This is Hydrangea Miss Saori, with its lovely, as you see, purple tinted foliage here. And when this comes out, it's got beautiful bicolor flowers with a lovely deep fringe to each of the florets. Very nice variety, been consistently good with our trials here. But I have to take a minute or two and just let you see this variety, which is Hydrangea Endless Summer Summer Crush. This is one that there are several videos here on this channel dealing with it, as there are on most of these other varieties too. But this is one that has consistently done very well, both in this trial but also in our other previous trials. And as you can see here, nice rounded habit, plenty of flowers, a nice bright color with it, and as you see, also plenty of young reblooming growth coming through too. So we think very highly of this variety, and it's one that if you don't know it and haven't grown it yet, I would definitely suggest that you check it out. And then, speaking of plants which have been relatively recently planted out also, are these two varieties here. This one in particular is a variety that we're very fond of. this has been spectacular really since the time we've started to grow it. It's called Hydrangea Let's Dance Sky View. This is one that I featured in a very recent video. You've seen it in production in the nursery, and I put a shot in there to let you see this plant when it was at this stage at that time, because it was still tight in bud. But now, as you see, it's coming out when the flowers are just now developing, these lovely big rounded mop head flowers. And this is a plant that's also only been in this position 2 years, so you'll see already that it's putting on a spectacular effect. Lots of flowers all over its tight, compact, rounded habit, but also look here and you'll see plenty of new flower bud coming from inside and around the plant, so that will keep the display going on through the rest of the season again. And like the other ones we talked about, we're here on neutral ground, so this is why it's pink, but it can also be changed to shades of light blue. And then this is a relatively new variety, also from proven winners. This is one called Hydrangea Let's Dance Lovable. And as you see, this has also a tight, compact habit, plenty of good big rounded flowers on it, but deeper shades. This is a darker, more purple shaded, or if you want to do the pink, it's more of a deeper, darker pink coloration through it too, almost shades of purple starting to come through. And again, rounded mop head flowers on a compact plant, but good rebloom coming through. And this is another one, just to remind you, this plant is only 2 years old. Now this one in the middle is Let's Dance Ariba, also from proven winners. This is an older plant. This has been in now going on for 4 years, and as you see, tight, compact, rounded habit, plenty of flowers on here, young growth coming through, but not seeing a whole lot of rebloom on this variety yet. And then tucked in here in this corner, and still, as you see, putting on a very good show with lots and lots of flower buds. This is one of the later introductions from Endless Summer. This is Endless Summer Pop Star, which, as you see, has this lovely textured, coarse textured dark green leaf, which is sturdy and stocky and bushy. It's here on this neutral soil. That's why we're getting these kind of pinkish lilac florets on here, and not the blue that you sometimes see in the picture or might see at the garden center. But as you see here, it's really covered with lots and lots of flowers. It's overwintered very well. And look here, look at all the young growth that's coming in here. So this has got lots of flowering potential on a short, compact, sturdy and nice stocky plant too. So this is Hydrangea Endless Summer Pop Star. And then planted along the front of the border here in this area, you'll remember from some of the videos that we posted previously, these are the Tough Stuff varieties, including this one here, which is Tough Stuff Top Fun. But all along this section here are the ones that are developed from the mountain hydrangea, Hydrangea serrata. That means that they're better able to cope with colder conditions in colder zones, better winter hardiness and good bud hardiness. And as you see now in the earlier part of the summer, putting on a beautiful show. We've got 4 of the older varieties here. This is Tough Stuff Red, just starting to open. This is Tough Stuff Aha, putting on a nice show with its blue or kind of slightly purpley blue flowers at this time of year. This is the original Tough Stuff here with its rounded habit, and then this is Tiny Tough Stuff here with, as you see, a preponderance of the real flowers, and then having these tiny little florets around the lace caps. Popular with pollinators, and as you see, very useful for colder zones because of that bud hardiness. Perhaps not quite as spectacular as some of these varieties, and also not having the ability to rebloom nearly as well as some of these impressive varieties. And as you probably realize, there are some varieties that are still later to develop, and so if you stay tuned, I'll probably be coming back in a few weeks to show you how this has changed again and how those later varieties are beginning to stack up. And hopefully that little quick run through this morning, while it's not got a lot of detail about the individual varieties, will at least give you a starting point, give you an idea as to what you're likely to find when you go along and visit our partnering garden centres. And if you're looking to try and find where all of those are located, I'll put a link in the description here on this video, so that then when you click on it, you can put in your zip code, and that'll show you then all the ones that are nearest to where you live. And also, I hope that you're finding these videos helpful and informative. And if you like what you're seeing, it would be really great if you could click the like button too, because that helps other people discover this information. And of course, please, it would be nice if you could share it with your friends and other gardening enthusiasts as well. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please think about doing so, because we're posting videos like this all the time, and then each time that we post new videos, you'll find that they will turn up automatically in your feed. So thanks for joining us today. Thanks for watching this video. Please let us know what you think about the plants and how they are doing for you in your garden, because collectively there's a lot of good information that we can share with each other, so that all of us are able to enjoy these absolutely gorgeous plants. This is David Wilson. Enjoy your gardening. It's good for us, and it's very good for our environment too.